I just have to. Welcome back to Season 3 World Championships, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up, it's our second quarterfinal fight between Royal Club and OMG. But right now, I was almost locked. I was almost doomed, ladies and gentlemen. It's Evil Genius's Snoopy. He was staring me down. I was worried.
Well, to be fair, you actually caught a second win. Like, he came in halfway through and then started staring at me, so that's a bit cheating, to be honest.
No, I did you, man. I outstared you.
I have these guys as backup in the audience. If they watch some of it, you were just cheating.
So you've been here pretty much the whole time. What were your takes on the group stages? Did the teams that got through, were you expecting that from the outset when we had the regionals back in Europe?
Oh, definitely not, actually. I thought Fnatic were a good team, but I didn't expect them to come out so strong. Like, we played them through the entire split, for example, at Gamescom. And up until Gamescom, they were a good team, but they weren't like standards, like leagues above anyone else. And then following, I don't know what they did between Gamescom until Worlds, but they must have practiced hard, and they said they did, so, and it definitely shows they're doing really, really well at this tournament.
And obviously they've got through to the semi-finals now. Do you think they've got it in them to go all the way? And do you think, obviously, the other teams, we've just seen SKT, T1 going through, OMG Royal coming up as well. We've already got Najin Sword in there. Do you think anyone out there that could possibly stop them?
I think it's still up in the air. I don't think anyone's like a clear winner right now. I think OMG had a really solid performance through groups, but everyone thinks that Royal's going to do what they did before and then stop OMG in their tracks again. If they're going to do that, we'll find out. I think Fnatic's, they've got a little bit of momentum behind them right now, but they're not getting too confident. They're very down to earth, and they realize that there's still a long way to go before they're actually in the finals. So I think they're down to earth about it, yeah.
And has there been any players here that have caught your eye and you just thought, wow, I wasn't expecting him to play like that, or somebody that surprised you that previously to this tournament you just... I mean, there's a lot of great players here, let's not go, but anyone that's completely surprised you?
I would say, like, obviously, like, Faker's an exceptional player, and everyone has the Faker hype train, but Putsu, or Pushu?
Pushu, yeah,
Pushu?
we've been calling him Pushu.
Yeah, so I think he actually stood up above quite a lot of people for me. I think he had a fantastic performance. He kind of was in the shadow of Reckles throughout the entire split from and back in Europe, but coming out here, he actually proved himself on an international stage, and I think he very much deserves his position in the team. He's a solid player and been really solid games. And I think he's actually one of the guys that are carrying Fnatic, not exactly only PK, to be honest.
And if you had to put your money down, who would you put down as the team that's going to win everything?
I'll have to stay with my home crowd in Europe, so I'm gonna go Fnatic, and I really think those guys can take it. I'm glad the crowd appreciates that as well.
And final question, obviously, you're a player yourself. How does it feel to be here and not taking part in this awesome Season 3 World Championships?
It absolutely sucks. It's still too soon, Lee. Still too soon. Actually, it's the same thing last year when we got to the semi-finals as well, and it was me. I was in Gambit there, and then we went to the Galen Center and we were in seeing TPA and Frost play last year. It was the same kind of feeling when you're sitting there and you're not on that stage and you came so close. Same thing here. We came so close to being here at group stages, and we just didn't quite make it. But what can you do?
Yeah, well, exactly the same, unfortunately, for Crepo and Double Lift, who are back there and have said exactly the same things. Thank you very much for the discussion. So let's send it over to the guys at that desk and see how exactly they feel about SKT's impressive performance.
Thank you very much, D-Man. And indeed, an impressive performance. We saw, again, in picks and bans, it just seemed to kind of fall in the bread and butter comfort zone of SKT as they came out very strong. And to think this is Faker's first pro game with Lissandra. He did it with Riven coming out in a pro game, and now Lissandra. What is it?
He brought his own flavor, the Deathfire Grass there on Lissandra. Crepo was talking about in EU, yes, Lissandra does plenty of damage, and Faker definitely showed he can back that up.
Faker just adds a little more
because
he can.
So what else were we talking about here? We're thinking a little about the Bengi show as well, from first to second game. Monty, do you want to delve into that a little bit?
Well, I mean, this win just started off that huge snowball that was created off those 3 kills in the bottom lane. And first off, starting off with that hook, which, look, I mean, I'd like Crepo to talk about the hitboxes here because he knows as a support player better than I do, but that setup was pretty good.
Yeah, well, everybody knows Mando as being so phenomenal on Nami, so he can land an AoE bubble on somebody, and that's nice and all, but then the hook, he was, so, like, the enemy AD carrier was pretty much behind the creeps, but he knows how far he can shoot it right next to them, so he grabs them at the side of the hitbox and basically pulls them all around, like curving the bullet as if it were, and then the beautiful setup goes in, flays them backwards, and it's pretty much free kills.
And then, on top of that,
Bengi does the same.
Bengi goes and chases. He does the exact same thing. He uses the side of the Sonic Wave, because the width of that Sonic Wave is pretty large, to barely hit Annie and get around the Elise there. He follows that up with I don't know where he came out with his juke, but the split second Cocoon comes off cooldown, he also makes a weird side movement up into the bush and dodges it as well. It just seemed like he predicted every single thing that Gamma Bears were going to come out with.
Yeah, and to move on just to talk about SK Telecom a little bit, they did look a little shaky in that first game, especially coming out of the gates early on. But this is a team that when they get into a best of series, they pretty much always lose the first 1 or 2 games of a best of 5, and we've seen that over and over and over again in Korea. But they bounce back. It's almost like they can just instantly adjust between games. It's like you give them a read on your play style, they absorb it, and then just absolutely demolish you in the games after that. And I really feel that's what we saw here tonight.
Yeah, and the casters were saying that you can't, when you get behind, you can't just roll over and just wait for the enemy team to end the game on you. Because before, a legitimate strategy was just to turtle the game out, wait for 15 minutes, and maybe the enemy team would throw.
Don't know where you get that from.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, exactly.
Who plays like that?
Gamma Bears bot lane actually didn't play scared the entire series, even though when they got behind, they were still playing aggressive. I feel like their solo lanes and jungle really kind of sat back and didn't make any plays, but their bot lane was always aggressive, and I kind of admire that.
It's actually a way you can play the game. If all 3 lanes play like that, it actually really makes it really hard for enemies to capitalize on it. Sure, the jungler might catch one guy being overextended, but at the same time, the other 2 lanes are getting benefits constantly by being so strong. If one guy only does it, he overextends, he draws the aggro, and the other lanes are actually not capitalizing on the jungle aggro being there. So hyper-aggressive teams or hyper-aggressive laning is actually a valid strategy.
Alrighty, so now that 3 of the 4 quarterfinal series are in our match history, let's take a look at the newly patched bracket. With SK Telecom's victory over the Gamma Bears, our first semifinal showdown has been set. SKT will take on Najin Black Sword this Friday at the Galen Center.
While in the other semifinal series, it'll be the winner of tonight's second quarterfinal match, Royal Club versus OMG, taking on Fnatic.
And if you want to watch the semifinals live and in person, head over to lolesports.com/tickets and grab your seat at the Galen Center. We still have a few spots left, so get them before they're gone. Okay, guys, earlier we asked you what has been your favorite moment from the quarterfinals so far and why. Here's what you had to say. The Walrus watches clutch Baron steal with Nunu, showed composure and timing, and gave his team a way back into the game. And remember, that was not a consume smite. That was just a flash smite, which is pretty damn good.
I was just going to point that out.
Oh!
On top of that, he was 1 level down. Not that it matters that much, the 70 damage or whatever you get from 1 more level. It's just so nice to see the guy just flash in, take the buff, and then just die. And he just stands there taunting the entire team. I just took your Baron. What are you going to do about it?
And it's also heart-wrenching to see that happen to a team that's really far ahead, because when you're that far ahead, you're in control of the game. You can make it so that it's a 100% chance for you to get the Baron, or the enemy jungler dies for it. Strategically, it's much smarter to just take another 30 seconds to set it up and make sure that there's no chance of getting it smite stolen, because we see it so much in Worlds.
That's actually what SKT1 does a lot. Some people might even say over-baiting Barons, but it's just so efficient, and people will eventually face check, and it's so satisfying after waiting for 35 seconds. It's one of my favorite plays, just getting your team, everybody buys a few pink wards, you get an Oracle, you clean everything, and then you just punish every brush they face check.
All right, next up, Maniac Haywire says, my favorite moments were those Nocturne dives by Cloud9, just watching them pick someone in the back and see them disappear.
Yeah, and that's a testament to how tanky Meteos gets on all of his jungle champions. I believe he had a 4,000 HP Nocturne in one of those games. And so when you're that tanky, it makes it so easy for you to initiate, because you can really tie up the back line and wait for the rest of your team to come up with the secondary engage.
Yeah, I was calling that the super dive, because he was backed up by the Fizz High, who had gotten fed so early, and they would just obliterate their target.
It's funny, though. It's Meteos doing his thing, because the first time he built it, it was that Hydra build, and he just started taking everybody out of the game. So Blaze77 is our next one, says, the best moment has to be that first double teleport by Expeke and Soaz, completely tearing apart Cloud9 in the first fight. Absolutely. This Fnatic, I think we have said it the entire time. Rotations, the Fnatic brush, them always being where you don't want them to be.
The most surprising thing about that is, well, from what my solo laners have told me, is that when you go TP, you actually have a disadvantage in lane. But you don't see Expeke and Soaz actually losing lane very much, even though they have TP. They don't have Ignite for all in, so they have to play passive, and they have to wait for the time to use TP. There's only a few opportunities throughout the game, but they just never lose lane. They always use TP well.
You calling out your solo laners now? They need to step up
No,
there?
it's actually true. That philosophy is true, I think. I love my solo laners. Please,
at the same time,
give me a raise.
It's really... Okay, it's really hard to gank a bot lane. It's actually, I don't even know why people do it against double TP. You should actually aim at getting one of the TPs out, because they have an innate disadvantage. Like Double if said, the summoner down, the target should be on those lanes. But Peke and Soaz, they kind of nullified both of their weaknesses because they can still TP to each other's lanes, and they've been playing with it for so long that they know exactly how far they can go with a TP or not. And if they get too far behind the lane, they just base and TP to the lane. So I really hope a lot more teams pick up teleport because it's such a viable tool.
So you're just trying to like put out a subliminal message that says don't gank bottom lanes?
Maybe.
Don't
Maybe
gank the bottom lane. It won't work, guys.
Never,
I swear.
You can't do it.
Even
All
with
right.
teleport on cooldown.
Because those 3 tweets made it on air, the authors get the Logitech gaming mouse. Congratulations to all of you.
And if you want to hear your handle read by Riv, then keep sending us your tweets. We're at LOL Esports, and be sure to use the hashtag Worlds.
And when you're done sending us your picks, head over to bit.ly/Worlds1 and give us some feedback on our broadcast. It's fun, it's easy, and you'll help us level up our game even more. Guys, 3 quarterfinals down. 1 to go. Up next, it is going to be Royal Club versus OMG. I think a much awaited match here by a lot. Mani, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I want to start actually by talking about Royal just a little bit and introducing them here. And a lot of people may have heard about Uzi, and he's a lot like Faker. He's a very young prodigy and extremely fun to watch. And the whole strategy of Royal is built around what they call raising the puppy. It's a lot like protecting the double lift, except more effective.
Except it works.
Except more effective, yeah. And so he's known as the puppy in China because of his youth. So, but we may see some really unorthodox strats here as well. These guys are so used to playing each other. Usually OMG has had the edge, but Royal did win in the regional finals. So,
And that's the most recent matchup,
Yeah.
so that's the one that sort of counts here.
Yeah, and Uzi is one of the most, if not the most respected AD in China. People always say Royal is a team where if Uzi gets ahead, they will win. And the thing is that Uzi doesn't have bad games. When I watch Royal games, Uzi, he just never has bad games. So it's going to be interesting to see what does OMG do against this godlike AD carry.
All right. Word's on you. You said that. So if he has a bad game, it's all coming on to you.
Yep, I'm taking it, dude.
Crepo, your thoughts?
I pretty much agree with Mani. It's always interesting to see teams battle each other again when they have faced each other so many times before. They can either go 2 ways. Either they stick to their guns and they have these very significant playstyles that both of them know, and they'll just duke it out. Hey, we're better than you. Even if you know what we're playing, we'll bring it to you anyways. Or they go the complete opposite way. They stray from their usual picks. They have been practicing in the dark. Royals coming in cold. OMG had group stages. So it's pretty unpredictable what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Unpredictable here does not mean a support Annie. Like, that's very common for Royal. I think they will be sticking to their guns, though.
All right. Well, before we get to the game, I have to get all of your picks. So let's make it official. Royal Club or OMG? What's it going to be in the semifinals? It started off with Crepo. Give us your pick.
It's going to be OMG. They played really well in group stages. I believe it was a fluke when they lost to Royal. I'm just not sure if it's going to be 2-0 or 2-1. Yeah, my gut says 2-0 for OMG.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a really close series, 2-1, but I think OMG is going to take it. As much as I respect Uzi and as much as I actually studied him halfway through the season because of his immense skill, OMG just seems a lot better as a team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the teamwork from OMG, I'm going to pick them as well. That teamwork is going to put them over the top, and they know how basically Royal tries to feed Uzi with a lot of all-in dives early in the game, and I'm sure they have a great plan coming into this series.
You know, I'm going to have to jump on that OMG train, but I really want to go with Royal because not actually Uzi, but actually Whites and Tabe. They used to play on the North American server. We know them from long time ago, but I'm going to have to take OMG here. My boy Loveland just too strong in the jungle.
All right, gentlemen. As a side note, again, you've picked the same team, and you cannot catch Mani if you all get the same picks right at the same time. So there may be some thinking involved with the next ones.
I'm okay with this.
We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how those predictions hold up when China's team takes to the Rift. It's Royal Club versus OMG when the Season 3 World Championship continues.